Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a pretty controversial idea, that instead of trying to block all the electromagnetic fields, or EMF, that are all around us, we should actually be strengthening our body's own resilience to them. We're going to break down an interview that explores this fascinating concept.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The source material for this explainer kicks off with the interviewer himself admitting he was deeply skeptical. And, that feels like a really healthy place for us to start too.
So that's the big question, right? How do you go from being super skeptical to actually believing in something like this? In this explainer, we're going to walk through the exact claims and the evidence presented in that interview that supposedly made all the difference. First things first, before we can even talk about the solution, we have to understand the problem as it's laid out in the source material. And that problem is our constant, nonstop exposure to what they call non-native electromagnetic fields. The discussion points to a whole laundry list of potential health problems, but a huge focus is put on sleep disruption, which they describe as having this devastating ripple effect on pretty much everything else: your immune system, your fertility, your overall health, you name it.
So here's the bottom line. The argument is that we're basically swimming in an ocean of these artificial frequencies. We are just constantly getting hit with them, from our phones, our Wi-Fi, our neighbor's Wi-Fi, and all of this, they claim, puts the body under this relentless informational stress. Okay, so we've got the problem on the table. Now let's switch gears and look at the solution presented in the source. And fair warning, it requires a pretty big shift in how we normally think about EMF protection.
So the source material paints a really clear picture here. You've got the old way, which is all about blocking EMF. It's like building a fortress, right? Trying to fight the environment. But this new way, it's completely different. It's not about blocking the noise outside, it's about making your body's own signal so strong that the noise just doesn't overwhelm it.
And this brings us right to the heart of the whole idea: sympathetic resonance. The goal here isn't to just cancel out all the chaotic frequencies. Instead, it's about giving your body a really clear, natural, harmonious signal to tune into. The claim is that when your body locks onto that signal, it shifts you out of that stressed-out fight-or-flight mode and into the calm, healing, rest, and digest state.
Okay, so how on earth is this resonance supposed to happen? Well, the interview gets into some pretty deep territory here. It pulls from a field called bioenergetics and a few key scientific concepts to try and explain the mechanism.
So the whole thing is built on this foundation of bioenergetics, and the core idea here is that you can actually influence your physical body by working with its energy field. The key is using information to guide your biology. Think of it this way. Just like food gives ourselves chemical information, bioenergetics claims you can use frequencies to give your body energetic information.
So here's the claim chain of events, step by step. First, they say this specific geometric pattern on the device actually generates a unique waveform. Second, this waveform supposedly communicates with your body's energy field. Third, this interaction is then said to boost your body's biophotons, which is this faint light our cells naturally give off. And finally, this change in energy is said to ripple out and influence everything from your cells to your tissues.
And then they add another fascinating layer to the theory, and it's a big one. They bring in Nikola Tesla. It's claimed that so-called scalar fields, which the source describes as a type of energy that's everywhere, are used to imprint the device with specific beneficial frequencies. It's like they're programming it with the right information to help counteract all that man-made EMF.
Okay, so that's the theory. It's a lot to take in. But what about the proof? Let's dig into the actual evidence the interview presents to back all of this up.
And right off the bat, the number that just jumps off the page is this one. In a study with over 100 people, they're claiming a staggering 700% average improvement in something called heart rate variability, or HRV.
So what is HRV anyway? Well, it's not your heart rate. It's the tiny little variations in time between each of your heartbeats. According to the source, the more variability you have, the healthier and more resilient your nervous system is. They actually call it the most important marker for health and longevity.
But it's not just about the numbers. The interview also points to some pretty dramatic visual evidence. They say that under a dark field microscope, you can see red blood cells, which tend to clump up when exposed to EMF, separate and go back to normal. And with Kirlian photography, which visualizes the body's energy field, they claim a dim aura literally lights up like a Christmas tree after someone puts on the device.
And get this,
The study also claimed to measure energy flow along the meridians from traditional Chinese medicine. And the results they presented are just wild. The pericardium meridian, that's the lining around the heart, supposedly saw an increase of over 2,000%. The heart meridian itself, over 1,000%. I mean, those are some dramatic numbers.
So after all the complex theories and all these data points, what's the big idea here? What's the single biggest takeaway from the source material? At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one powerful idea of resonance. The argument is that we are always vibrating. The question is, what are you going to resonate with? Is it going to be the chaotic, artificial frequencies of the modern world, or a coherent, harmonious, natural pattern? And you know, this whole concept seems to perfectly echo that famous quote from Nikola Tesla. The interview basically suggests that this is the next frontier, that understanding our health through the lens of energy, frequency, and vibration isn't just some abstract idea, but it's the future of wellness. So to wrap it all up, the argument we've explored today is this. The problem is energetic interference. The solution they propose is to restore your body's natural resonance. The evidence they cite points to some pretty big changes in key health markers. And the ultimate goal is to shift your body out of chronic stress and into a state of calm and healing.
And that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The perspective presented here suggests that maybe resilience in our super high-tech world isn't about building higher walls to block out all the noise, but instead about learning how to cultivate a stronger, clearer, more coherent signal from within.